So here's the door that I've put the patch in that bottom corner here. I'm just finishing out the top part here where the steel is all scaled up around this area here. So what I'm going to do is obviously cut this out, but I'm going to press some steel in this steel tube. So basically this is the correct diameter, as you can see, for that curvature in the door there. So it's just a matter of me cutting out some flat steel now and pressing this down on top of the steel to get that shape. So that's what I'm going to do now and see how it fits in there. So here's my first patch that's going on that I'm going to put that curvature into. So that piece of pipe that I've just shown you earlier is where this came from. Basically I've just cut a piece off the end here and I've cut a cross section off. So this is pretty much acting as a mould, as you can see. So it's just a matter of me grabbing the opposite side, such as the other piece of pipe, over the top of that metal and just crushing it down in a vise, and that gives me that perfect shape to fit into that door. So that's pretty well squashed in there, and that's going to be the shape of that pipe, which is about 40mm diameter, which is roughly what that shape inside the Impala's door is. So here's all those patches that I've cut out. There's the curved piece of metal in there that fits nicely. Second piece there, I've got a couple of little smaller ones on the side here. This is just to replace scaled metal. And of course this corner piece right at the bottom here. So now it's just time to cut all this out and put these in. So there's all the patch panels gone in. One in the corner's in place, and this one where all that scaled up steel has gone in there. Next thing I've got to do now, what I found is stripping back the paint on this, is all these little holes here across the skin. And it's basically where someone's put a dent puller in there and pulled out some dents, so I can see the creases coming along the skin here. So I've got to get rid of all the putty that's in those holes and weld all these holes up. So here's the back side of that door, pretty well cleaned up. I've just sandblasted it, and still got to wire wheel it and just get some of the rubbish off of it. But this is what it exposes, especially when you sandblast, all these little pit holes down here, or rust holes. So all that's got to be repaired. It's quite a bit of work, especially doing the rear side of a door like this with all these folds and that sort of thing in it. It just takes forever to clean it out properly. But that is almost there. So here is that door. That was the last door that I worked on. This is where that patch went, right in the corner here. There was another piece that got replaced at the top here, and a small piece down the corner. There's a lot of work on this door, but I finally got every single door in this car done, as in body work done. And that includes the insides of the doors as well. Every door in the car has had body work done to it. The only two doors, in fact, that I didn't have to do too much was this right hand front door. This just had one spot of rust. And the left hand front door, which was really just stripping paint back and putting it back in primer. This rear door was probably the worst of the lot. This door here once again had another huge patch here. This whole piece across here was replaced. There was another section in here. This was a mess, this door, but they've all turned out pretty well. So here are the fenders that I've already done some work on, and I put them in an etch primer like this just to protect them from rusting up before I got back onto them. So I'm now back on them, and what I'm going to do now is hit them with some high build primer. I had to do some extra body work on this fender over here. It's probably hard to see now, which is good, but this whole area here was replaced. I put a huge patch in there, and then I had to put some body filler over that and work that in so that you can't see it. You can see under a certain shade of light. I'll just lift that up a little. You can see through that light where the body filler was. Now when the high build primer goes over the top of that, you really won't be able to see any of that. So there are the fenders in 3 coats of high build primer. Now I'm not going to block sand this, of course. This is pretty much where it's going to stay until the whole car is put in high build primer, and eventually the whole lot will all go back together, and then I'll block sand the whole lot while it's on the car. But the beauty about doing this now is I really don't have to worry about rust coming back through the undercoat or anything like that. It's in high build primer, so that is now as good as sealed. And now I move on to the next parts.